It's the Nuka-Cola Lounge, presented by the Triple S League.
Nobody can have a good night's sleep, and nobody can have a Nuka-Cola.
No.
They have to come to me.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Nuka-Cola Lounge podcast. My name is Ash, and I'm here as always with Saib.
Hello, hello.
Today we're going to be discussing something that we released on our channel about a week ago now.
We kind of showed you the happy end possibilities of Fallout 4.
This sort of good karma ending, if you will. Saib spent an insane amount of time figuring out how to trigger this ending, and it's been fantastic. It's gotten a great response, and we are getting tons of questions in, so we wanted to take some time and answer some of those. Not everyone agrees with us that this is the best ending. This is, of course, our opinion. Some people disagree. Some have disagreed very vocally with a lot of four-letter words. And you know what? They're entitled to do so.
I still think one of the best endings is where you steal everybody's pillows and Nuka-Cola and put them, there's a gigantic bank vault. I would stuff all of the pillows and all of the Nuka-Cola into that room and then lock the vault and then set up just an army of landmines around it to make sure that nobody got access to the pillows and the Nuka-Cola. That's a good ending. And that's the beauty of Bethesda games is you can do whatever you want.
You would control the wasteland.
Nobody can have a good night's sleep and nobody can have a Nuka-Cola.
No.
They have to come to me.
You would rule the wasteland.
Yes.
But anyway, I mean, in terms of the actual scripted endings, there's differing opinions on which ending is best. Some people, they like the Minutemen and the Railroad. They don't like the Institute, and they don't like the Brotherhood because they think the Brotherhood is too militant, and so they don't want to spare the Brotherhood. They want to eliminate them. Other people want to side with the Institute for various reasons.
If you're carrying in the spirit of Fallout 1, Fallout 2, Fallout 3, then, you know, the Brotherhood are flawed. They're a little selfish, but they're living in a world whose scientists and leaders brought it to ruin just because they couldn't agree on something, and they did so through the abuse of technology. So if you're a purist as far as that goes and you want a good karma ending, this is definitely the way to go. If you're a purist and you want a bad karma ending, then this is not the way you go. You should not confuse those two things. Just because this is a good karma ending doesn't mean that this is the lore ending. And you know, we really have to set that apart. The lore endings always had, you know, bad karma, worse karma, evil karma, and then good karma, and, you know, savior karma.
Yeah.
And those things were always difficult to get. Always very difficult to get. I remember my first playthrough of Fallout 2, I got the evil karma ending because I did everything good, except I murdered one guy to get his armor because it was really, really cool.
You just couldn't resist.
I couldn't resist, and I was like, why did I get this normal, like, run-of-the-mill good ending instead of the really good ending? And my brother was like, well, did you kill that guy for his armor? I'm like, maybe.
I'll never forget the first time I got to the end of Jedi Knight, and the cutscene showed me becoming the new Emperor.
I remember
because I had chosen the dark side force powers, and I was like, what? No!
I remember that because it's so funny, because it's like, if you have one more point in dark force powers, I'm like, well, they were good for combat.
Yeah, they go and make the dark force powers so much more fun.
So I had to redo my build, so my light abilities outranked my dark abilities by 1 point. And then I got the good ending. I was like, that doesn't really make a lot of sense.
The light side force powers were stupid in that game. They got better in later games. Anyway, I have a question of my own. Why would Bethesda go through the trouble of creating this ending and, you know, scripting all that dialogue and everything, and then make it so difficult to actually get this ending?
Well, really what we have is we have Bethesda trying to make a really, like, heart-wrenching, gripping drama as far as the storyline goes, and make the player experience some really horrible, hard decisions that they had to make. And those are good. You look back at some of the more recent games that really offered that, you know, Mass Effect 1 and 2, BioShock, and The Last of Us. Those were good games, and they played on the heartstrings, right? Unfortunately, what we had with Fallout 4, and again, it's entirely up to you as far as what you thought of the world. A lot of people like their endings that they got naturally. We're not dumping on other people's endings. Our guide was simply, you know, do you want to have a savior of the wasteland kind of experience that you might have had in especially Fallout 2 and Fallout 3. Do you want that kind of experience? Then this is the way to do that kind of super good karma ending where, and again, you don't kill everybody in the Institute. A lot of the Institute people escaped. The kids got out, the families got out, a lot of the synths got out and are able to be free now away from oppression. As far as why Bethesda decided to make it difficult is probably because they didn't want people to just randomly have that ending. They wanted people to think more and want to make this work.
What's bizarre about this to me, though, is it doesn't seem to just be a question of the decisions that you make, you know, who you're siding with and who finds you favorable at what times, that kind of thing. It's not just about making decisions. It's, in some cases, you know, looking over the guide that we drew up, some of these things seem really arbitrary. Like, if you do this quest before this quest, you won't get this ending. If you go too far down this line, you won't get this ending. You know what I mean? It's, in some ways, it seems very arbitrary and kind of random, and that's what puzzles me. It's almost like this ending was an Easter egg. Not quite that, but almost at that point.
Not necessarily. If you think about it from the point of view where, like, do you want to give the Brotherhood a massive boost to their arsenal by giving them a bunch of nukes? Well, the last thing you want in a post-apocalyptic world is more people running around with nukes. So let's not do that. And then let's make sure that the Railroad is doing their job, because you have 2 synth companions and you love them both. On the other hand, you also have friends in the Brotherhood, and you see the importance of the Brotherhood. A lot of people need to remember that the big distance between the Capital Wasteland and the Boston Commonwealth area, there's a big gigantic area between them that is comprised of nothing but feral ghouls and super mutants. So the world is not a friendly place, and the last thing you want to do is take a big group who's trying to bring peace to the wasteland and have them be killed off. To kill off the Institute, Brotherhood of Steel, and then to minimize the Minutemen and just have the Railroad, that's just going to result in a wasteland that's not being led by anybody.
Fair enough, but even going into it with that mentality of wanting to have the Brotherhood survive but not have them go genocidal on the synths, it took you a lot of trial and error to get to this point. So why that?
The trial and the error part was trying to find a perfect balance in mainly the quests, and this is where it was a little buggy. By completing certain quests in certain orders, you could end up bugging other quests, and so I wanted to come up with a perfect solution so that at the end of the game I'd have no limit of things I wanted to do. If I wanted to make coolant for the Brotherhood, I could do that. If I wanted to, help more synths escape, I could do that. If I wanted to set up more communities, I could do that. And I could do that with any other companions that I wanted to do. I could take Deacon into the Brotherhood of Steel. I could take Dance into the Railroad. I could take Dance into the Minutemen base, and nobody would have an issue with any of this stuff. That's kind of what I wanted to do. I didn't want to have to sit there and go, oh shit, I can't fast port to this place, because if I do that, my current companion will start getting shot at by everybody, which is what happened in my first playthrough. I just took Curie and showed up at a Brotherhood base, and they started launching mini nukes at Curie for no viable reason that I could figure out. And that's what made me go, okay, no, I'm restarting. This is really dumb. This is really stupid. And I wanted to figure out why and try and prevent that kind of stuff. So I wanted to have all those quests open, and that's what we have in this one.
All right. That sort of answers my question. I'm still a little puzzled about this, but let's move on to some actual Q&A, some questions that we got through Reddit, YouTube comments, etc. The first question, and this I think was the most popular question we got, and it was the very first question we got: what armor was she wearing in that video?
That is the Brotherhood officer armor in combination with heavy leather armor, with the exception of the chest piece. The chest piece is a special legendary drop that I got that I really like.
I just found it so funny that was the very first question we got. I was like, did you watch the video? Like, we did this whole awesome thing, and you want to know where do I get that armor? Which is fine. It's a fine question. Not mocking the question, because it is a fine-looking piece of armor. Next question. The Institute apparently can give you a really awesome paint job for your power armor. Is there a way to obtain that and still achieve this ending?
Nope. Those paint jobs are given to you. That particular one is given to you at the very end of all of the chain quests. for the Institute. So you have to go completely Institute side in order to get that paint job.
All right, next question. I see Dance is still on the Pridwin. Can you still get his perk since he's not exiled?
You cannot finish out his perk tree without going full-on Brotherhood of Steel, or going pretty much full-on Brotherhood of Steel, like past the point of no return with the Railroad and the Institute, and in some cases the Minutemen. They locked it in behind a really advanced quest, but his perk is way too overpowered. Like 20%, that's a lot.
Someone says, I think this is tongue-in-cheek, but what if you already screwed up step 1 and 3, LOL?
Well, then you have to go back and pretty much start a brand new game. Step 1 you can do 5 minutes after you get out of the vault. Like it's really, really early on. So if you mess that one up, I don't see how you can mess that one up unless, I don't know.
Maybe they killed the guys who were giving them the quests because he liked their armor. Okay, I know it's not in the order you said, but if I completed Tradecraft, Boston After Dark, Butcher's Bill, and the DIA quests for the Railroad to get Ballistic Weave, and then completed Reunions and Dangerous Minds, would I not be able to get this ending?
You might. I did not try it this way, and I don't know if it's going to bug or cause any discrepancies in some of the quests.
So the answer is maybe. We haven't tried it. It might work. There might be things in this process that can be tweaked a little, and you still get this ending. We don't have the time to test every possibility. All we know is that this process works. If you find something that's slightly different that also works, let us know, and we'll update our guide. Next question. Why can't I do the Show No Mercy quest after getting kicked out of the Institute?
Doing the Show No Mercy quest essentially just makes the Brotherhood really aggressive, and they start attacking people quite often. There have been people who have managed to do it, and the Brotherhood have stayed, for the most part, passive, but an equal number of people who have done Show No Mercy ended up having a Brotherhood who were just over the top aggressive. It could be a simple coding error. It may be meant to happen that way. It may not be meant to happen that way. But for whatever reason, they become really super aggressive, and we don't really know why.
Okay, so final question here. Warning, major story spoiler. If you have not completed the main questline and you don't want a major spoiler right now, I would skip about a minute ahead in this video. So I'll give you a second to do that if that's what you want to do. And now I'm going to ask the question. A couple people have asked, if you go about this and do this ending, do you still save Sean from the Institute?
Yeah, you always get the choice to save Sean.
Okay.
That is an intrinsical part of the game that you cannot avoid. You will always be presented with that option.
Okay.
And you can always choose whatever the hell you want.
Excellent. So that's it for the questions. Sorry if we didn't get to your question. Unfortunately, we've just been overwhelmed with the response to this video that we called the best Fallout 4 ending. I just want to clarify again, is our opinion of what the best ending is. It's not going to be the best ending for everybody, but it's the ending that results in the most stable Commonwealth. Not perfect, obviously, but that's why we see this as the best outcome. We appreciate all of the likes and comments and support that we've been getting. It's been fantastic, and we're glad that this is something that the community is appreciating out there. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask, and we will try to get you answers. Can't promise. Unfortunately, there's just been too much to get to, and we've got a lot of other stuff on the go. But feel free to ask either by leaving comments below, either on this or on the other video, or via Twitter, @SSLeague, or you can tweet your questions right at Cyb. He is @Cybsidian on Twitter. And I noticed that actually you guys, some of you have been answering each other's questions on the comment thread, and that is fantastic. We love to see that community aspect of it coming through. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Nuka-Cola Lounge podcast. My name is Ash, and on behalf of Cyb, thanks for listening, and we will talk to you later.
See ya!